A 62.4% growth rate is no joke. Ever wondered how Guyana's GDP skyrocketed in just 1 year? Guyana, a small state located in the northeastern corner of South America and neighbored by Venezuela and Suriname, with a population of above 800,000, having the capital city being Georgetown, was once a non-competitive player in the global economy. Marked by slow economic growth and a primarily agricultural economy, the landscape of Guyana was seen as sugar and rice plantations that only served the purpose of sustenance and not prosperity. Yet, the spirit of the Guyanese people cannot be deterred, which played a significant role in the notion of becoming successful. Guyana's rapidly growing economy is a lesson about how a resource discovery can transform a nation. But how did this happen? Obviously not overnight. It took years of continuous struggle to reach this point. Long before Guyana became a global economic contender, its story began with the native people. These communities lived off the land's richness for thousands of years, long before modern developments. The Caribs and Arawaks were the original inhabitants of the land. They laid the groundwork for a society deeply connected to the rich natural bounty of the region. However, European arrival in the late 15th century marked a turning point. The Dutch, followed by the British, colonized Guyana, transforming its economy into a resource extraction machine. Lush rainforests gave way to vast sugar plantations, fueled by the brutal system of African slavery. Gold and bauxite, minerals coveted by the colonizers, were also unearthed, further shaping Guyana's economic trajectory. Even though there was an abundance of riches, the age of colonization ended with a heritage of exploitation and underdevelopment. The riches of Guyana principally went to the home countries of European powers, and Guyana's population was impoverished. The Dutch established trading posts and imported slaves from West Africa to cultivate sugarcane, marking the beginning of a shift towards plantation economies. By the 18th century, European settlers had moved estates downriver towards fertile coastal areas, further developing the colony. Ownerships were exchanged many times during various wars. However, British rule consolidated at the beginning of the 19th century. This was followed by the freeing of slaves in 1838 and the importation of enslaved labourers from India on plantations. Finally, in 1966, Guyana threw off the shackles of colonialism and gained its independence. Free at last, the newborn nation had a very diverse economic inheritance. Sugar, after which the colony was named, was on the decline. Yet, beneath the surface, Guyana's true potential, its rich mineral deposits and fertile land, remained largely untapped, waiting for the right moment to propel the nation forward on a new economic path. Guyana's GDP has nearly tripled in the last 3 years, making it the world's fastest growing economy. In 2022, the country recorded a staggering GDP growth rate of 62.3%, and it is expected to grow at 38.4% in 2023, according to the IMF. Isn't it amazing why the global economy took a small step forward, 6.1% over several years? Guyana's economy practically leaped ahead, 62.4% in a single year. But how? How actually did Guyana catapult to the top as the world's fastest growing economy? The country's economy, which was non-performing before, experienced a gigantic transformation in a 2015 offshore oil discovery in the water, about 120 miles from Georgetown. The last quarter of 2020 saw another 17 oil fields discovered in the Starbrook block of Guyana. Extrapolation suggested that these fields would be producing some 750,000 barrels of oil daily by 2025. In December 2019, the Guyanese government signed a partnership agreement with Exxon that discovered the field and started its production. Expanded oil production was expected to fuel breakthroughs in other economic sectors and lift the population's quality of life to unprecedented levels. The current economic scenario of Guyana could not have been better. Offshore oil discovery has no doubt been a game changer for the country's economy. This discovery marked a turning point for the nation, unlocking vast potential for economic growth and development. The country experienced a remarkable real GDP growth rate of 62% in recent years, driven primarily by the burgeoning oil sector. The newfound oil wealth has the potential to generate substantial revenue for Guyana through oil exports and royalties. Estimates suggest that Guyana's crude reserves account for a significant portion of global reserves, positioning the country as a key player in the global oil market. Furthermore, the influx of investments in the oil sector has catalyzed infrastructure development in Guyana. Projects such as port facilities, roads, and other critical infrastructure have been initiated to support the burgeoning oil industry, creating employment opportunities and boosting economic activity. The oil sector has created thousands of direct and indirect jobs in Guyana. However, what comes with opportunities has underlying challenges too. The rapid expansion of the oil sector has raised environmental concerns regarding potential impacts on marine ecosystems and biodiversity. Sustainable practices and stringent regulations are essential to mitigate these risks and ensure responsible resource extraction. Moreover, managing newfound oil wealth requires robust governance frameworks and transparency. This is very important in terms of preventing corruption and ensuring equitable distribution of revenues among the population. Strengthening institutions and promoting accountability are crucial for maximizing the benefits of oil wealth. And don't forget skill development. Developing local human capital and technical expertise in the oil industry is vital for maximizing the benefits of the sector. Investing in education and training programs to build a skilled workforce will not only support the oil industry but also foster long-term economic growth. The government of Guyana is expecting to earn $1.41 billion in profits from oil and $225.20 million from royalties in 2023. Market intelligence estimates that the total assets of Guyana's Natural Resource Fund, NRF, the country's sovereign wealth fund, could reach about $2.05 billion by the end of 2023, up 40.3% from the December 2022 level. During many years forward from independence, Guyana was imprisoned in a natural colonial economic dependency on mainly agricultural and mined products, especially sugarcane and bauxite. Even though the government implemented economic reforms with socialist principles in mind, these changes didn't significantly affect how the economy functioned overall. By the late 1970s, the government of Guyana took a significant step by nationalizing key industries. This meant they took ownership of bauxite mines, previously held by private US and Canadian companies. Bauxite is a valuable mineral used in making aluminium. Additionally, the government nationalized the entire Booker McConnell Company, which dominated Guyana's sugar industry. This included not just the vast coastal sugarcane plantations, but also their commercial enterprises and even light manufacturing holdings. Interestingly, it was calculated that by the mid-1980s, the state owned more than 4/5 of the country's economy. All national enterprises were thus restructured into the Guyana State Corporation. The state-owned Guyana Sugar Corporation ruled the sugarcane plantations, and the Guyana Mining Enterprise Limited was established to guide the local mining. Since the 1990s, privatization programs have been implemented and government control lowered. The state was in a position to attract foreign petroleum, mining, agriculture, and forestry investments by the early 21st century. The country was still facing a lack of skilled manpower, an unstable infrastructure, and a large external debt. Moving on, Guyana's rich history with agriculture, forestry, and fishing has laid a strong foundation for future growth. Guyana's agricultural history dates back to the Dutch and British colonial periods, when sugarcane, rice, coffee, and cacao were cultivated with a mix of mechanization and manual labor. The economy heavily relied on agricultural and mined products like sugarcane and bauxite, leading to a cycle of dependency on these commodities. Despite only about 5% of the country's land area is suitable for cultivation of crops, and only 2% arable land, agriculture was the chief economic activity in Guyana. Much of this fertile area lay more than 1 meter below the high tide level of the sea and had to be protected by a system of dikes and dams which were built by the Dutch using slave labor. In the 1980s, there were reports that the 200-year-old system of dikes in Guyana was in a serious state of disrepair. Talking about production, sugar and rice have been the most important primary agricultural products, as they have been since the 19th century. Sugar was produced primarily for export, whereas most rice was consumed domestically. Today in Guyana, sugar production generates the most revenue in the primary industry, at around 15% of the total annual GNP. Other important crops include wheat, bananas, coconuts, coffee, cocoa, citrus fruits, pepper and pumpkin, and livestock communities from the country's various cattle ranches including beef, pork, poultry, dairy products and fish, notably shrimp. In some areas, peanuts are also an important crop. Many of these products, including rice, are of extreme importance to national food security within the country. Small amounts of vegetables, vegetable oil, and tobacco are also produced. During the late 1980s, some farmers succeeded in diversifying into specialty products such as heart of palm and asparagus for export to Europe. Also, Guyana's forestry sector plays a vital role in the nation's economic well-being. Greenheart, a prized timber known for its strength and durability, is a key source of income through domestic use and export. Plywood production also contributes significantly to the nation's export portfolio. But it's important to make sure to use these forests without harming them. So, how is Guyana making sure it uses its forests wisely while also protecting them? Well, the forestry industries in Guyana have been working hard to use them wisely by following practices that ensure the health of the forest continues while it benefits the economy. Furthermore, the industry generates employment opportunities in various sectors like logging, processing, transportation, and management. This economic activity can also contribute to the development of local communities residing near the forests, providing them with a source of livelihood. Another factor contributing greatly to Guyana's fast-growing economy is fisheries. Guyana's fisheries sector contributes between $70 to $80 million annually to the economy. Fishing in Guyana traces back to Amerindians and Dutch settlers in the 17th century. The British period saw a decline in fishing activities until the late 19th century when deep-sea fishing began to gain importance. Guyana's modern fishing industry primarily focuses on marine species like prawn, shrimp, and finfish. Aquaculture has attracted significant investment growth, offering profitable opportunities for value addition and exports. While all of these elements have a substantial input into the country's economic prosperity, the ultimate factor behind the thriving of the Guyana economy is the offshore oil discovery. The latter discovery not only shifted the economic landscape, but also posed new challenges and opportunities for a nation on the verge of transformation. The offshore oil discoveries have propelled Guyana into the spotlight as one of the fastest growing economies globally. Guyana, a country once ruled by its colonial past and agriculture in the rainforest, was transformed after huge reserves of oil located offshore were discovered. Through the narrative of metamorphosis, one makes a journey deeper than just the riches of the sea. This statement is, at the same time, a sign of endurance and power of the country, leading it to a new era in its destiny. While Guyana rides the wave of prosperity, it is also facing the inevitable dangers of finding a permanent way, as well as sustainable development, environment conservation, and equitable reaps. The country is at an inflection point, and the possibilities are endless. Through it, we get an opportunity to choose a promising future for all residents, and establish ourselves as the ones whom other nations will respect, emulate, and follow. The world is looking towards Guyana with hopes that this journey will lead to success. This story has a chance, and it's up to the present generation to make it a good one. Guyana's experience may serve as an illustrative example for the other nations, showing that the natural resources can be used rightly and in a sustainable way for the benefit of the citizens and nature. This historic era teaches us that even the most pressing challenges contain the latent germ of options that change the course of events forever. Remember to like and subscribe to our channel if you enjoyed this video. We'll see you in the next one.